successful, you'll do that stuff.
Yeah. Because those online reviews are
They are a
everything.
big deal.
Yeah, that drives their whole business.
They'll find something to get you shut down.
Yeah. It's like if you got a helicopter pad, you give everybody a ride. Yeah.
All right, we'll go ahead and get started. At 7 o'clock here. So we'll go ahead and get started with the Pledge of Allegiance led by Commissioner Clyde and opening remarks by Commissioner Still.
Please all rise and repeat after me.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our dear Heavenly Father, we are grateful again tonight to be able to meet to discuss the business of our city and its residents. And we ask thee to bless us with clear minds and the ability to understand and discuss these items in a respectful way. And we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you. All right, looking at tonight's agenda, we are continuing item number 2 to the February 25th meeting and continuing item number 3 indefinitely. But the rest of the agenda will proceed as stated. So tonight we'll hear items number 1 and 4. But with those changes, I'll entertain a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
I'll make a motion that we approve tonight's agenda with those 2 changes on item 2 and 3.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Coombs, a second by Commissioner Butler. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. I'll entertain a motion to approve tonight's staff reports.
I'll approve tonight's staff reports. Second.
Yeah, we have a motion by Commissioner Phillips and a second by Commissioner Butler to approve tonight's staff reports. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Are there any declaration of conflicts and abstentions from the commission members this evening on any of the items? Good deal. Well, then we will proceed. We'll proceed with item number 1, which is a public hearing to consider the request of Russ Bezant for a 3-lot preliminary subdivision plat called Hammond Plat A on property located at approximately 100 South, 850 East in the R110 single-family residential zone. Riley?
Thank you, Chair. Okay, the request is for a 3-lot preliminary subdivision called Hammond Plat A at approximately 100 South, 850 East in the R110 single-family residential zone. Here's a zoning map. And then here's an aerial. So the proposed subdivision occupies a total area of 1.5 acres, and all lots meet the minimum requirements for the R1, I think it says R120 on your staff report, it's supposed to say R110. So that correction would be a minimum area of 10,000 square feet, minimum frontage of 35 feet, and the width would also be different, but nonetheless, all of these lots meet those requirements for the R110 zone. So here's the proposed plat for Hammond Plat A. There is an existing vicinity plan for this area, and this is the existing vicinity plan. You can see here that it shows the cul-de-sac extending out a little bit further, and that there was originally proposed to be 4 lots here instead of 3. The applicant has proposed a change to this vicinity plan, to this one shown here, so that the cul-de-sac will be shortened and none of the area will project onto the park, up here, the Anderson Park. So that's the changes that are proposed. So staff does not anticipate any negative effects by the proposed vicinity plan, and recommends approval of both the plat and the vicinity plan.
Thank you, Riley. Any questions for staff on this item?
Riley, on the old plat, it includes a trail easement between the end of the cul-de-sac and 950 East. You see that, the 8-foot trail easement? It's that
On this
yellow,
one?
the yellow line right along the property line between the park and the.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's been addressed.
Yeah.
Aaron, do you have any answers for that? So it shows this 8-foot trail easement at the end of this cul-de-sac, and this cul-de-sac is going to be shortened. Do you know if that's been addressed?
I'm not 100% sure, but I believe so. I don't believe that there is a trail going that way now, but I know they are providing access to the park through 850 East, 100 South, I mean.
If you look, I mean, it still shows it on there, right there. Points to it, it just doesn't show it drawn all the way down.
Yeah. So that was my question, because that was part of when we made the changes to the vicinity plan here,
Mm-hmm.
that was, part of the agreement was to provide that trail connection, since we were eliminating a road that went through, to still allow pedestrian access through, even though we weren't allowing vehicle access anymore.
I'm sorry about that. I don't know if that's been addressed or not.
If this were in color, would it show up?
Well, it would have to go across lot 3 because before it went up into that, which was considered lot 4,
Yeah.
where the wetlands at.
But I'm just wondering if it were in color, it'd show that all the way down through lot 3.
I think it also doesn't show it on the more,
On the older
on
one?
this one,
On that one.
the one before, the one before, it doesn't. So basically, it would cut that top little piece of lot 3 there, but anyway. Thank you. Yeah, I think you answered my question.
Yeah.
Are you talking about on the top then?
So
It's
the
at the
yellow line
one
between
right
the end of the
here.
cul-de-sac.
the 8-foot
Yeah.
trail easement. How much was the cul-de-sac reduced? How many feet?
I don't think that wouldn't necessarily, I don't know if that, I don't know if that would be as applicable because that section on that north side is not really part of this particular, I mean, there is that very top piece of it, but it's not really it's only the 3 lots that make up the
No,
cul-de-sac there,
I
right?
understand that.
Yeah.
What I'm suggesting is that part of the approval process for this vicinity plan originally in this original plat was to include that trail. If we don't include it in this change to the plat, then the trail goes nowhere, right? It doesn't connect to the cul-de-sac anymore.
Because the
That's my
cul-de-sac,
point
yeah,
there.
because the cul-de-sac has been pulled back, and that essentially is part of lot 3 now, where the cul-de-sac did go
Right, so
extend to.
Can you go up back one slide, Riley?
Or this one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, the other direction.
Oh, sorry.
Back to slide
This one?
5, yes.
Okay.
So what I'm suggesting is that there needs to be that 8-foot trail easement along that north property boundary from the end of the cul-de-sac to the east line.
On that 81 feet.
Yeah, where it says 8158. Right there, yes. Because the park there is not, it'll have access to the park. The park is dirt trails, it's not transportation, right?
Yeah, it's not an improved trail through the
Yes.
park, it's just dirt.
So, anyway, that's my point, but we can get to that later.
You mean, you can make it part of the motion if you
Yes.
think it's.
That's what I was planning for. I was just clarifying whether it was on there or not currently. Thank you.
Any other questions for staff? No, thank you, Eddie. Is the applicant here for this item today? I don't see them. This is a public hearing. We'll go ahead and open up the public hearing. If anybody from the public would like to come speak on this item, we invite you to come up to the podium and state your name. It looks like there are no comments from the public. We'll go ahead and close the public hearing, bring it back up to the commission for further discussion, or I'll entertain a motion.
So does that change where those additional lots just aren't being, in this phase or this development at all? Because originally that, it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 7, was the Hammond section.
Yeah, it looks like they've eliminated the potential for lot three
Three,
there, unless it
mhm.
came as a flag lot off.
Right.
Yeah, they've reduced it down to just the 3 on the Hammond. And then, like, the others are Adams, Caden, Adams Acres, Thorn. So I guess they're splitting it up between ownership.
I mean, I remember when the original one, when this first came in and what they were trying to change to and run that road all the way out.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then it got changed to this.
Yeah, I remember a comment from that one as well, from a former city councilwoman, I think, saying that the agreement with the park from the family that donated it wouldn't allow this cul-de-sac to extend onto park property.
That's right.
Right.
So I would imagine that might be what's driving this, that they can't.
You've got a weird elevation issue too.
Yes.
You do,
Yeah.
and that ditch run across the
Yep.
back
Yeah.
of the water line.
Let alone the under, what was it, 1,000 feet you needed to be between intersections?
Yeah.
Or 600
Yeah.
feet? What was it? I can't remember. We talked about that
So
forever.
they had to come back a couple of times to
Yeah.
deal with those things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm ready to make a motion if no one objects.
Let's hear it.
All right. I move the planning commission forward a positive recommendation of approval for the request of Russ Besant for a subdivision plat called Hammond Plat A on property located at approximately 100 South, 850 East in the R110 Single Family Residential Zone, adopting the exhibits, conditions, and findings of the staff report with the conditions that 1, street improvements will be required with future development of the property. 2, the plat should show an 8-foot pedestrian trail easement along the north boundary of Lot 3. And 3, all final planning, engineering, and fire department requirements are met.
Sorry, I'll second.
Good deal. We have a motion by Commissioner Still and a second by Commissioner Coombs. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. We will go ahead and continue to item number 4, as the other items have been continued, which is a public hearing to consider amendments to City Code Section 10-14-47C, accessory apartments, owner occupied, to further define the term owner occupied for accessory apartments and tiny homes. Daniel.
Thank you, Chair. Let me bring up the screen here to make sure that we all can see it. $43.08. Chair, Commissioners, as one of the Director of Planning here in Pleasant Grove, I take pride of the ordinance on the code that we have in regards to the accessory apartments here in the city. We were some of the first ones in the state of Utah to allow accessory apartments. I think that our code, it's so good. 2 months ago, I had the opportunity to have a class with all the mayors in Utah County and Salt Lake County, and I explained them how we got here and what we did. So hopefully some of them copy our good work. We're okay with them copying our good work. Sometimes we copy theirs. And so we have an ordinance, Chair and Commissioners, that allows for accessory apartments. We have certain rules, though. When we were creating this ordinance, there's always a worry from the neighbors. There's always a worry from the people around that the impact that accessory apartments are going to have on them. And of course, some of the concerns are what's going to happen with the parking, what's going to happen with the property decay, what's going to happen with noise nuisances and those type of stuff. So when this ordinance was drafted, there was many rules that get to be applied to the accessory apartments. When we talk about tiny homes is kind of like an appendix of an accessory apartment. So tiny homes are also accessory apartments. Tiny homes are not allowed to be in a lot by itself. Tiny homes have to be accessory apartments.
But, we also have people register their accessory apartments, so they come to the office and they register. And what we do is we try to make sure that they check every single box that we have. So all those rules that we have right there, we have kind of like a handout with boxes, and we go, okay, do you have enough parking? Sure, here's the site plan, check. Do you guys have, where is the, is it owner occupied? And we have realized that we have had some problems in regards to the term of what owner occupant means. So our code says that no accessory apartment shall be created, established, or occupied in a single family dwelling unless the owner of the property occupies, and I think this is pretty good of our code, either a portion of the main dwelling or a detached accessory unit. Either or. They can live on the main dwelling or just on a part of the main dwelling, because remember that definition of family, it allows up to 3 unrelated people, right? So say that it's my home, I can live in the main dwelling, rent a couple bedrooms, it still qualifies, and then I have another family, or the definition of family living in the accessory apartment, or vice versa. So I think this is very good or lax, I don't want to say lax, but appropriate of our code. As long as they're in the same single family lot. For the purpose of this section, and this is something we've been invited by the city attorney to change this, because it says, for the purpose of this section, the term owner occupied shall be defined as full-time residency within the home by the bona fide property owners as shown on the Utah County tax assessment rolls. So, what are some of the issues that we have had? Well, if someone owns 1% of the home, they go and their name's already in the records. And then we have had a couple of them where the people put someone else's, just 1%, and they show right there in the record, but they only own 1%, and they only do it so they can rent both units. So we've been struggling a little bit with that. What the city attorney did, she went and took 2 ordinances. She took the ordinance from the city of Provo and from the city of Orem, and then tailor it to our own ordinance. And so or what she's proposing, or what staff is proposing, is this paragraph right here. It's just a sentence. This sentence needed to be expanded, needed to be very specific. And that's what the city attorney and planning staff are proposing. So specific that one line turns into plenty of lines. Plenty of lines. Chair, would you like me to go one by one? Or I don't know if you guys have any questions in regard to all of them. Basically, I can touch them if you want to without reading them, and then see, how about we do that? I'll touch them, and then we'll see if I have any questions, okay? So, it's very specific, and a lot of this is attorney language, and pretty much
which is good language.
Exactly,
I
which
just
is
wanna make sure we
that's why I was
clarify
careful of what to say, right? I was
Okay,
gonna say
alright.
technical language. Let's put it that way. But for example, what is proposed now? It shows right here that here's another issue that was happening. What people were doing is creating kind of like a company, putting the home under the company, and then rented both units. So they, like I said, people were going around it, and anything it was needed. Our ordinance doesn't have the definition of owner occupied. But again, now this is really clear, and in order for someone to be an owner and they need to own at least 50% of the dwelling, at least, right? So that qualifies someone as the owner. So that's very important in there, and the language just is very clear on that. It talks about the corporation situation. So at least one of the owners of the corporation also needs to own 50% of the home. So it's just very clear on that matter. Let me see. There's right here number 6. It talks about when you do not qualify as property owner. For example, if it has happened, like the person buys the home and gives it to the children, and the children doesn't know anything, it's just the dad, but the children rent one and then they rent the other portion. Now, this is different that when someone goes on a service mission, if we want to call it that way, we have a part of the code that addresses that, and it's right here. And we go up to 3 years when someone goes to, or a job assignment or something like that. There's a couple of exceptions, if you want to call it that way. But again, very, very, very clear on when the exception can be applied, when the exception cannot be applied. There were also a case, and this happens here in the city, that someone kind of like had the home under contract, but they never signed the contract. And it was under contract, but so they said the home is mine, but in reality, no, because they never signed the contract. It was just living there. So people do those type of things. And when I say people, residents, right? I'm not saying that they do it with malice. What I'm saying is that sometimes since we don't have a very clear definition, there's many ways around this. Have we had problems with this lately? Yes, there are some neighborhoods, some neighbors that are upset of what's going on, and they're required for us to be more clear on what owner-occupied is. So therefore, we start working on this ordinance. I think that it's very clear, it's very concise. I mean, I don't know if it's concise because it's long, but I think it's concise on the matter that it touches every single point. Of what owner-occupied is. Again, what we are proposing is to change one line that can be very, what's the word that I'm looking for here? It can be interpreted in many ways, or
Say ambiguous.
ambiguous. It can be ambiguous to all this that leaves no room for ambiguity. Right? Say that? Yeah. This
Nailed it.
leaves no room for ambiguity. So that's what I have, Chair, Commissioners. Staff recommends that the Planning Commission approves this. And now once we have this, every single applicant that comes for an accessory apartment will make sure that we go every single one of those rules, and we'll make sure that they comply with that. In order for a home to qualify as owner-occupied, we need to make sure that it matches every single one of them. Okay?
Great. I have a couple of cleanup items and then some technical questions.
Yeah, for sure.
In number 6, on the second line, it says his / or hers. I was just taking out the /.
Okay.
And then
I mean,
2 words over his.
like that?
Yeah, his or her status as, and then take out A. Yep. And then in 6F, I believe it should be bona fide, not bona fide. Unless bona fide is a term that I don't know.
Former Marine,
Is that what it is?
Semper Fi.
I think it's spelled different, but
Did we get it?
yeah, there you go.
Okay.
And then in number 8, we have it says, number 8.
Right there, for purpose of establishing.
Yeah, so on the his, her there, just for consistency's sake throughout the code, it should either be his or her, or go up and change the other one to his box.
Like that?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Perfect.
I realize that's a little nitpicky, but then some of the more substantial questions. I think 6F is great CYA language. I have a hard time coming up with a scenario where they would technically qualify, but we would say that they are not owner-occupied.
Like maybe if the owner signs an agreement with them that they'll be a 50% owner for the duration of their lease, but then I don't know that would work, but does that make sense? Like you have a contract that says, okay, you'll pay rent on this, we'll have you down as 50% owner, but when you move, the ownership reverts to me.
You basically automatically re-sign it back to them upon moving out.
Yeah. But then if you have control of half of the property, then you have control of half of the property.
Right, and that's what I go back to, is I don't think it's preventing anything.
Yeah.
And so I don't see the need for F.
Okay.
I think we open ourselves up to a little bit more scrutiny than necessary. But I could also be convinced otherwise. The other one, in number 9, this is a section that says when we're claiming that they are not the owner occupant, this is the documentation that's provided to prove that they are the owner occupant. You look at 9C, is the owner listed on all rental documents and agreements with tenants who occupy the dwelling unit, including any accessory apartment? My problem is if we're asking for all this documentation, how would they already have rental documents if they're applying to have an accessory apartment? Because in 10, we say if they fail to provide any of the documents set forth above, then we can deny them. So I worry that they may not be able to have all of those. I don't know if there's a better way to write it, and I think there is a better way to write it to include some discussion back and forth with the documentation that's used to prove that they actually are the owner occupant without saying that every one of the items A through E need to be provided. Because I don't know that they would have C. I don't know that a lot of people would have C, and then we were saying, oh, well, then it's not owner occupied because you've never had anybody there, but they weren't supposed to have anybody there without applying anyway, so,
Kind of like catch-22.
yeah. Does that make sense, Daniel?
This documentation may not be in place by the time.
I mean, I think you may have to look at it. I like the idea of having that documentation as possibly part of it to prove ownership, occupied ownership, but I don't know if you lessen up the language in 10 and have it be a mix of those 5 documents, or if we're really saying you need the documents that are required, if you're saying these are required documents to prove it, then you take C out altogether.
Okay.
Because I think the other ones would prove it without C being necessary.
Or have them provide a sample contract, whether it's signed or not, but,
I mean,
because they would have something in place for.
I don't think that
I think it
does
really matters.
anything to
No,
prove,
I don't
to
think
prove
so either.
owner occupancy. Yeah. And then the last question I had, so in 11C where we talk about the exceptions here, and we give it, and I think it's pretty clear that we're saying if there's a temporary absence from the home or from the residence for 3 years, we're gonna allow them to rent out
Both.
everything, both the main dwelling and the accessory. How are we going to enforce that? And, I mean, we say job assignment, sabbatical, or voluntary service. What if it's something that's not one of those 3? Are we still gonna allow it? Just with the promise that within 3 years, they're gonna move back?
Well, according to how it's written, no, you should be only a job assignment, sabbatical, or voluntary service, right?
Right, so how are you defining, I mean, how do you define voluntary service? Are we gonna get into that? How is that gonna be enforced?
I don't know. I don't know if you guys. We can either do 2 things: just eliminate the categories, and leave it as a 3 years only, or I don't know. Is there some documentation that can be presented for something like that?
Could you just
We
say
can request something.
temporary, for a temporary period or whatever, such as, or for example?
Yeah.
Well, but then that, I feel like that opens it up to, I can just
But are we restricting it
move
to
away
just
and
those
rent it out,
things?
right?
What other reasons would there possibly be?
Somebody wants to rent out both until they voluntarily leave for 3
For
years?
3 years?
Get 3 years worth of rental income? Okay.
Yeah.
An
That's a hassle.
alternative solution could be that if you're going to take advantage of this, then you need to notify the city and say, I'm going to be gone for this reason for this length of time. Right?
And have it be approved. And
So
I think
we-
some of that may be subjective, but you could put in some objective criteria as well into that in the city's review.
Yeah. So I feel like that might not be a bad idea that you, so basically if I get a job assignment that's gonna take me away for a year or 3 years, then I come in, tell you, or the office, hey,
Yeah.
I have an accessory apartment, I'm gonna be leaving. You have me sign a form saying I'm gonna be gone this long, and then you can keep track of it that way.
Okay. I think it's a good idea. That's what I was telling by requiring more documentation of them signing up. Maybe we can add it to our list of things and with an option right there that says one of these things and you know, we'll make sure that it's like that. So is it okay if we leave the language like that and I just add it at the application? Would you guys feel comfortable with that?
Yeah, we can, I mean, my concern was more, how do you enforce that and what's gonna qualify as voluntary service or whatnot, but
Well,
if
if they have
that's part of the
document,
application process, then I think
yeah,
that's
if they
fine.
have it, and they would bring it to the application process.
So we'll make sure I put these 2 yellow things that we can review that. And it's up to you guys. If you guys would like me to make those changes, bring it back to you guys on the next planning commission, or you just give me the
Go ahead.
I don't want to say the command. There's another thing. Give me the task of going, fix it with the city attorney, and then take it to the city council like that. It's up to you and how you guys feel more comfortable. Staff is willing to do either or.
Daniel, I've got some too. I was just waiting for Todd to finish.
Okay.
In 4,
Mm-hmm.
if you go up to 4, I've got a specific scenario of this that can be somewhat problematic, and if we're going to be overstating the entire thing, involved in a trust that it was a husband and wife. They put it into 2 trusts and split it because women tend to live longer than men. The home was actually not split in half. It was in the wife's name. The secondary beneficiaries would actually be the children. If the wife died first, the husband then therefore did not actually own the home anymore. And it would be the kids' home. And so I see that being problematic, which comes also down to 6. And I know that this is splitting hairs as far as the likelihood, but this is an actual scenario. If you come down to 6C, I want to go to D first. Any beneficiary of the trust interest in the secondary or a subordinate to the interest of that primary beneficiary. That scenario would force that person then would not be able to rent out that basement or whatever the accessory apartment is. I think we need to work on the wording there for that and D and C as fair market value is too arbitrary to me if we're going to go into this much detail into it.
I will say that's a legal term that gets held up. And it is arbitrary and it is,
Yeah.
but it's pretty common for those types of things as well.
Before I can see that being problematic because of how it's listed. And somehow it's got to be worded, maybe who was originally there, who was originally on those titles before that was put into that trust.
Okay.
I had a question. The syntax of number 2 is bothering me, the sentence structure. I just don't understand quite what it's saying.
On number 2,
Yeah,
okay.
so, like, we're defining that it needs to be an actual person, right?
Mm-hmm.
But, I feel like it should say something like, an owner shall be a person.
Okay.
Listed as the owner of record.
Like right here?
Yeah, just right at the beginning.
How are we determining the percentage?
of ownership. It's assumed that if there's, it says that in 3, right? If more than one person is owned, the owner shall be the persons who own at least 50%. Each person listed on the title shall be presumed to hold an equal interest unless explicitly stated otherwise.
So they have to show.
Show a separate contract.
So there'd have to be a contract that lists out ownership interest, or they're just assumed to all have an equal interest.
This is getting, in my opinion, crazy town.
And unfortunately, it's because people have taken advantage of it, right?
What happened is that the city attorney looked at some scenarios where things could have been taken advantage of, and she drafted this type of language. Some of them, to be honest with you, it's even hard for a land use professional like city planner or me to enforce these type of things. I think most of these things will come when there's questions, and either the neighbors are demanding the city some answers, or pretty much if that's the case, then we can make sure that we cover every single one of them, or at least it was in our code. So yeah, I think she was trying to cover every possible scenario that might happen. Yeah, without being overreaching.
Sounds great. Any other questions for staff? Thank you, Daniel.
Okay, I'll make sure, Chair, that we'll work on that language.
This is a public hearing. If there's members of the public that would like to come up and address the item, we'll invite you to come up to the pulpit and state your name, and we'll be happy to hear from you. Sounds good. It looks like there are no comments. We'll go ahead and close the public hearing and bring it back up to the commission for discussion.
So one of the questions is whether we want Daniel to come back to us with changes, or if we think that it's okay to send it on to the council once he's talked to the city attorney.
I feel like there's enough there. I'd like to see it come back.
I do too.
Yeah. So I think it'd be good to continue it to the 25th meeting, if that gives you enough time, Daniel. Not a trust issue. I'd just like to see the end result.
Justin, Lisa, comments? Nothing?
Yeah. I'll editorialize after.
Ditto.
I think, I just think it needs to be cleaned up a little bit more. We'll go from there.
Sounds good. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion. I move the Planning Commission continue the request of Pleasant Grove City for the proposed amendments to City Code Section 10-15-47C, accessory apartments owner occupied, by modifying the definition for owner occupancy for the establishment of accessory apartments in the single-family dwelling zones until February 25th, so that the staff has time to revisit the comments made by the Planning Commission with the city attorney and provide a final draft of language.
I'll second.
Sounds good. We have a motion by Commissioner Still and a second by Commissioner Coombs to continue the item to February 25th. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you. The next item is to elect a chair and vice chair. And this may be a little out of place, but we do have a larger number of members of the public here tonight, and I don't know if it was a miscommunication on an item that was continued, or if there's something they want to address.
We were told that there was going to be discussion of...
If it's okay, can I...
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
That would be great. Yeah, just in the interest of their time.
So that was the That was the item that you that we decided when you started the meeting to continue. So the item is for the amendment of the vicinity plan. But what's going on is the applicant also needs to rezone. It's not just the vicinity plan. So both are legislative decisions. So I told the applicant that it would be better if we do both at the same time. So we don't have to do one and then the other one. It's always good to do the vicinity plan, not having the rezone in the future, but doing it around the same time. So since the applicant hadn't applied for the rezone, he decided to continue the item. So we'll see this item on the 25th. We'll send more notices for the rezoned, and this item was continued at the beginning of the meeting.
All right, sounds
Okay.
good.
All right.
So just to be clear, if you'd like to come back for the conversation, that'll happen at the next meeting on February 25th. Good deal. Well, we'll move on to the next item of business on the agenda, which is to elect a chair and vice chair. And Daniel, I think you have what we need there. Yeah. It was that it was continued tonight, and so it was posted, but we continued it for the next meeting because.
Because the decision was made at the beginning of this meeting. The decision was made at the beginning of this meeting. Right, so just an hour ago.
There will be at the next meeting. All of that has to be continued to the next meeting as part of the.
You can also
process.
provide written comments about it to the staff. You can email them or talk to Daniel, and we'll review those.
You can call us and we can provide them to you. Okay. Yeah. All right, Chair. It looks like it's time. It's time of the year when we're gonna the commissioners are gonna vote for a new chair and vice chair. What we're gonna do first is do the voting for the chair. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hand you guys some. I call these ballots or piece of paper where you guys have to vote. But I think first you guys gotta make a motion for who.
Nomination.
Just a nomination, right?
Yeah. And I don't know, in the past, the way we've done it is we have nominate 3 people, and then there's voting on those 3 people, on those 3 commissioners. I don't know if you want to proceed doing it like that, Chair, or if you want to do 2, 3, it's up to you.
Also take a motion to close nominations after sufficient number.
I would say that we go up to 3. If we
Okay.
don't get 3, that's fine too. But
At least 2.
Can I do a write-in and put Todd again?
Unfortunately,
Any
our bylaws
nominations?
don't allow it.
It's not the time to be shy.
For what?
I nominate Bobby Joe Blake.
that's that's actually who I was going to nominate as well.
I was actually going to text her and say, are you going to be okay when that happens? Because you decided to not be here.
I have a nomination for Peter.
I don't think we need to second the nomination. I know in the past, we've actually given the person that's been nominated a chance to say if they'd be willing. And I think we would do that again. I think that's a little bit hard for Bobby Joe, obviously.
That'll teach her not to miss a meeting.
And I don't think it is a requirement, but has been something that we've done to be nice. So currently we have a nomination for Peter, a nomination for Bobby Joe. Peter, would you be willing if?
I think Bobby Joe would be a good choice too, but.
That wasn't
I
a
like
question.
I like how Peter speaks for Bobby Joe. That's awesome. Let's do it.
Is there any more nominations, or should go ahead and start the voting? Voting?
I think
All
we'll
right.
go ahead and start it, yep.
Okay,
So, well, I think I should take a motion to close the nomination period.
I'll move that we close the nominations.
So we have a motion by Commissioner Phillips, a second by Commissioner Butler, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries.
Okay, so I'm gonna go pick up the.
Oh, sorry.
I'm gonna borrow a pen from someone.
Yeah, I've got 3 of them. Jeffrey.
I was gonna cast and then give it to you.
I thought it was like a heads up, 7-Up kind of thing. Put your head down.
If I touch your thumb, you are the new president.
You are old.
All right, so I'll count them to you, and then you point them down, okay? So I have 1 vote for Peters, for Commissioner Steele, 1 vote for Commissioner Blake, 1 vote for Commissioner Steele, 1 vote for Commissioner Blake. Oh, this is getting tight.
Did you stack them like
1
that?
vote for Commissioner Blake. I have 1 that has 2 votes. And 1 vote for Commissioner Steele. So I have, yeah, we have to redo it again. So someone vote for Commissioner Coombs and Commissioner Clyde. So we got to do it again. And make sure that you either vote for Commissioner.
I was not nominated. Sorry.
Let's make sure that we either, because it's a tie, so we have to redo it again. And we need to make sure that we go from one of them too.
One of the nominated.
Right.
I say we all just vote for Tim right now.
You closed it. Tough.
Dang.
Oh, I have more. Yeah, thank you. That's perfect. I'm just gonna.
Peter, I just want to know if you voted for yourself.
I'm going to bet no.
So I'm gonna go pick them up. We're gonna make sure that we go for one of them too.
Like Survivor?
Okay, so I'm gonna make the count again, and I'm gonna make it live. So 1 vote for Commissioner Steele, 1 vote for Commissioner Blake, 1 vote for Commissioner Steele, 1 vote for Commissioner Blake, 1 vote for Commissioner Blake, 1 vote for Commissioner Steele, and 1 vote for Commissioner Blake.
I just think that's rude.
We could do it like we used to do the presidential election, that the loser is now the vice president or vice chair.
All right, so we have Commissioner Blake to be our new chair. She will start.
Michelle Texter,
She will
congratulations.
start functioning the next planning commission. Okay. Now we're gonna vote for vice chair.
So are you gonna inform her?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, because I gotta help her out with a little bit of training so she's ready for it. Okay. All right. So nominations for vice chair.
Peter.
I'll nominate Tim, so we have at least a second.
Oh, man.
There you go. Any other nominations? I get a motion to close the
I
nomination.
motion that we close the nominations.
I'll second.
right, we have a motion by Commissioner Butler, second by Commissioner Coombs to close the nominations for vice chair. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Make sure you vote for 1 and 2.
Only those nominated.
Please tell me you voted for yourself.
I'm not gonna vote for myself, really. I've been the chair, I've been the vice chair and the chair before. It's more fun if you're not.
I like the corner.
That's what I told these guys. I'm excited to come and only talk when I want to.
You're good at it, dude.
Yeah.
I think you've been great. You're a lot better than the one we had the year before.
Yeah, that guy.
I second that.
Okay, I have 1 vote for Commissioner Clyde, 1 vote for Commissioner Steele, 1 vote for Commissioner Clyde, 1 vote for Commissioner Clyde,
Oh, crap.
1 vote for Commissioner Steele, 1 vote for Commissioner Steele, and another vote for Commissioner Steele.
Oh! Way to come from behind, Peter.
Good job. You're the man.
That was fun.
Okay, thank you, Chair. So we appreciate it, everything that you did this year. I think we had a fantastic year. We had a couple of intense meetings, and I think you managed them correctly. So thank you very much for
Good job,
your
Todd.
service.
Thank you.
We're glad. I mean, we're not kicking you out. You're still going to be part of the planning commission.
No,
so
but I'm excited to only talk when I want to now. So,
thank you, Chair. Appreciate it.
You still have to be in charge of all the redlining things.
yeah, I told Lauren that today. She was like, "Oh, we're not going to get our minutes done." I was like, "No, you still will." That's a thing. Well, I mean, so the last item on the agenda is to review the minutes. Kara, I don't know if you have those, the red line that we can pull up. Daniel, would you mind opening the red line of the minutes?
On my computer?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we can see them. There were a couple of things.
Okay. Give me 1 second.
I think he was getting ready to tell Bobby Joe.
So, what do you think is going to be so heated about the 25th meeting?
Yeah, maybe the rezone, possibly, but that wasn't on this one.
looks like.
Yeah, they may not have an issue with it.
I don't know. They didn't
There
look
was
that
a lot
big.
of neighbors, for that.
It's
Yeah.
going to be awesome. Bobby Joe's first day. He wasn't here, and you throw her right under the bus.
I think it would be awesome if she was watching.
But then also, why would they need a zone change? I wonder what they're doing.
Well, probably it's a remnant RR or something.
Oof.
It
I think it was smart to continue it because they're gonna have questions about the size of the lots and where the lots are gonna be and things like that. So I met with the applicant. I told him it's the best thing if you continue it. So he agreed. Okay, so let me go to the minutes.
I think I'm feeling a little sick for next meeting.
This one, Chair, red line.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
So, yeah. So if you keep coming down, God, where was it? I'm sorry. A lot of these are just stylistic and again changing from an active or from passive to active voice again. But then I like in page 4, line 32,
Page
4.
432. Okay.
Yeah. So it originally stated Commissioner Blake was in favor, and then the concern was that other areas that it'd be applied to. I just wanted to clarify, it was the areas within that zone, and could be applied to isn't proper English, so change that one up a little bit, and that's how I remembered it. I don't know if anybody else remembered it differently. Okay. rest of them are fairly stylistic, not too major.
Okay. You tell me if you want me to go to specific page.
No, that was the only one where it
Okay.
was, I couldn't, wanted to make sure we were all understanding the same thing. It wasn't something else that was said.
We'll make sure we make the changes.
So with that, entertain a motion.
I'll move that we approve the minutes with the presented changes.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Phillips, a second by Commissioner Butler. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll give you a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Still, we have a motion by Commissioner Clyde and a second by Commissioner Still. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No. Motion
Chairman Fugel is over.
carries. Done.
Drop the mic right there.